And joining us right now live once again from FC Dallas, Walker Zimmerman. Walker, welcome again, my friend.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Pleasure to have you on again, my friend. Let's talk about it. Last year was an unbelievable year for you personally, for your young squad. You guys went through a lot of ups and downs, surprised a lot of people, and it's great to build upon that. But this year, a lot of people will have their eyes set on you guys. You'll have the target on you, and I'm sure that the coaching staff has prepared you for that because now everyone knows that FC Dallas is for real. Talk about it.
Yeah, I think so, and I think our expectations of ourselves are even higher than last year. Our sights are on MLS Cup. We think we got even better with some key additions in the offseason, got a lot more depth on the team. So overall, it's making us more competitive in training, and I think that's going to transition over into the games as well.
It's got to be nice, Walker, to be around a bunch of guys that are all more or less a few years in age difference between each other, and mixed in with a couple solid vets on the squad. It's got to be great to grow and have the bumps and bruises, the ups and downs, but to win and to grow together to something of a success with this group. Talk about how great it is to grow with these young guys.
Definitely. We are a young team, but now it's, you look at the core of the young guys, and, now we've been here for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So it's like everyone's starting to get that experience, gain some maturity, even though we are a young team. And then, you mentioned we had some veterans. We have a great group of veterans with Chris Seitz, Zach Lloyd, Tiba Harris, all those guys, really big leaders for us. And, I think it's a good mix between some youth and some veterans.
Walker, let's be honest, the Western Conference is an unbelievable conference. No disrespect to the Eastern Conference up here in Toronto, but you can't take a game off. You can't look ahead because each and every week, unbelievable competition is coming your way. And again, this year, I'm pretty sure you guys are focused one game at a time and not looking ahead, because you look at LA Galaxy, they have really shored up. The champs are in your conference. We could go on and on. It's an unbelievable stacked conference. Talk about it.
For sure, and I think we learned our lesson even last year. We were sitting in the top of the league. We had a road game in Chicago, who at the time was the bottom of the table in the East, and we dropped a result there, and it really hurt us overall with the Supporters Shield and how close those kind of races are. So, this is a competitive league, and on any given day, Eastern Conference or Western Conference, you're going to have to come out there and play, and that's what makes the league exciting. Is you aren't going to have these routes, you're not going to have these lopsided games. So being able to show up week in, week out and get that consistency is something that's pretty important if you want to try and win the league.
The word parity comes to mind when I'm looking at MLS this season, whether it's the Western or Eastern Conference. Everyone is really short up in the offseason. It looks like Philly and Chicago, who have struggled the last number of years, are ready to battle. I've got Chris Pontius coming on from the Philadelphia Union at 7. He came over from DC United. Many other teams in the Eastern and Western Conference have picked up real valuable pieces. How important is it that you guys really focus at the job at hand with your team and not worry about everyone else and what they've done?
Right. And I think that is our focus, especially in preseason. We're gaining team chemistry. We're gaining confidence playing with one another, the new guys, learning how they play, how they move, how they are off the field. And all those little things, they add up and can really build into the success of a team. So we're focused on us. Obviously, we can't wait to get out there and start competing against other teams. We know that everyone else has gotten better, but at the same time, we're having the faith that, we've built a pretty good team here as well. So just having the confidence to go out and perform with our friends and teammates and get the job done.
Walker, the coaching staff believed in you in 2015. They started to give you more and more responsibility. You paid them back in a wonderful playoff series you had, but also throughout the season when you were called upon. In your off season, did you watch a lot of game tape? Did you look at some of the things that you wanted to improve upon? Did you have a different workout regimen? Tell us about your off season and how that went.
Yeah, so I had an interesting off-season. I was in a contract year, so I wanted to get some different training experiences under my belt. So I went overseas, and I did some training with some teams in Norway and Sweden, which was really good for me. Just a nice breath of fresh air, different environment, just really getting a good experience and culturally, and just kind of getting out of the U.S. for a little bit and just having that whole time to just kind of reflect, train, not worry about contract situations, but just focus on playing and getting better. And so my preparation, I do a lot of swimming in the off season. I do some yoga. I do kind of my own kind of two-a-days where I'm doing ball skills and running, and then hit the pool afterwards. And just kind of mixing it up, because I think, it is a long season, and so to focus on just doing soccer in the off season, I think it's good for me to just do some different things. So getting my fitness and cardio in other ways and playing other sports is really important, and it keeps a little balance in my life as well, of just maintaining the perspective of, hey, like, you can stay fit doing things other than, playing a soccer match. And, it's just a good time to get 2 or 3 weeks away and stay fit doing other things. So that's a little bit what I did, and I feel really good and really prepared mentally and physically heading into 2016.
It's funny you said that, Walker. What came to my mind when I was listening to you talk about other sports and doing some other things and not just soccer was my 2 sons. One of them older than the other. I mainly concentrated on him playing hockey and soccer and other sports, but when it came to the second one, at a certain age, I let him have the game of soccer that he loved go 12 months full out. But now I'm looking back, and I think that might have been too much. It should have been a little bit more of some other sports, and 3/4 of the sport he loves soccer. I'd like your opinion on that. Young parents out there that are now starting to begin that journey that you went through with your parents in the game you love, do you suggest that they go to a different sport when their sport is off season?
I think it's different for every kid. One, based off of the reality of, hey, does my kid have a future in this sport, is a big question to ask. 2 is how they actually enjoy the sport. So for me, my personal story is I love all sports. I'm extremely competitive. I grew up playing basketball and baseball as well as soccer. I loved it. I truly did. But there came a time heading into 8th grade where, soccer had really started to pick up. I started to get involved with, region team, national team type things at U14. And I realized that in order to achieve my personal goal of becoming a professional athlete, that soccer was that avenue. And so from that point on, for me, it was about 8th grade. And I think now with how soccer is going and developing, especially in this country, I think it's really important to maybe make that switch a little earlier. But at the same time, some kids grow up and all they do is eat, sleep, dream soccer, and that's fine. That's totally okay. For me, I loved and wanted the experience of playing other sports, and I think it helped create me into a more athletic type of soccer player. And so you just learn different things, and I think it's definitely different for every individual. But I'm really thankful for the experiences and fun that I had growing up. Playing other sports.
Walker, talk about Norway and Sweden, because I know here in Canada a lot of young Canadians, and I know a lot of young U.S. players have started to go more and more to Scandinavia, Finland, Norway, Sweden, on and on, those Scandinavian countries, because they have an opportunity to live the dream that they might not have here in North America with their clubs. So they go over there and they really come back refreshed. They really come back a new player, a new person, because of the culture, because of the game, on and on. Talk about it. How was the culture there for you? The food, the atmosphere? Explain it to us a bit.
Yeah, so for me, I've grown up loving to travel. I've gotten the chance to, thankfully through soccer, be able to go to some really cool countries, cool places. And so obviously when the opportunity came up, I didn't hesitate. I went for it. Just wanted to have that experience, like you said, even outside of soccer. So it was fun getting to hang out. And with those countries, a lot of guys can still speak English, whether they choose to or not. So it's really not too much of a language barrier, because you can, understand people or order food at a restaurant and have them understand you. So there's a lot of English speaking going on over there, which definitely helps to adjust and you feel more comfortable. And so I think that's appealing for people who, might not be bilingual, heading over from the U.S. or Canada. So for me, that was a good part of it, was the language was not an issue. Different type of training, a little bit different style of play. And I think their mentality in those leagues for sure is to basically they try and get players in order to sell players. It's kind of not in it for them. They're looking at almost a strictly business side where they're going to develop a player and then try and make money off of them. Where that might be a little bit different methodology or ideology with some teams in MLS or in Canada.
Walker, we had on Fernando Clavillo a couple weeks ago. We talked about the wonderful development with some of the youngsters that are now up with the first team, and Gonzalez, Kellen Acosta, on and on. This club has done a tremendous job in developing players. I think they are going to be the envy once again this year with homegrown players. And then you've got the Canadian, Tisho Akindele, that is getting ready for another season in MLS, but a lot of Canadian fans are really expecting him to have a massive game against Mexico in World Cup qualifiers coming up as well. Talk about, these young guys, and when you're out there and you're watching them at their young age, even younger than you, if I'm not mistaken, Gonzalez is, and you got to look at them and say to yourself, wow, this is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is, and these guys are extremely talented, brought up in the youth system at FC Dallas, and even with how we do things on a day-to-day basis. We have academy guys who consistently train with us. We had a lot of them come on our preseason trip, and so they start to smell what it's like to be around the first team, and we kind of take them under our wing and kind of help grow them, have conversations, whether it's about things that happen on the field or if it's just about life. And it's a really good system that's going on here. It's a mentoring process between guys who have gotten to where these younger kids are dreaming of being. And so it's definitely fun too. I enjoy talking to some academy players and just really picking their brains, seeing what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and talking about their colleges or whether they should try and go pro, and just kind of helping them balance, what it looks like, and really just being there for them. And so that whole system and opportunity that's given to the kids in our academy is huge, and it's I think fulfilling for both guys on the first team and for the academy kids.
Walker, just a couple other minutes and we'll let you go. We really appreciate your time. But once that whistle blows and you get it on and you look across down that field, you look at Jovinko with TFC, Kaká with Orlando City, we could go on and on, Pirlo with New York City FC. You've got to say to yourself, wow, this is unbelievable. Thanks, all the glory to God that I'm able to line up against some of these guys and play the game I love. It's got to be incredible.
It is, and it's something that I really don't think about too much, leading up to the game or during the game. But I think the first moment when I realized I was playing against a big-time star was I got to play against Thierry Henry a few years ago. And that, for me, I didn't really think too much about it while we were playing. And then afterwards, I'm getting texts and calls from, my family. Oh, my goodness, that was so fun to watch. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, man, I was 5 years old, 6 years old, playing with this guy in a video game. And this is a big-time star worldwide. And so I think, for me, a lot of times it happens after the game. And it's cool to reflect on and obviously have friends and family being like, man, that's so cool. And then you start to realize, yeah, I guess that is pretty cool. So it's definitely fun to play against guys who you've been watching on TV or reading about for many years.
Walker, you're playing in a great city in Dallas. You've got great fan support. It's a wonderful community. And I'd like to ask you a simple question that I asked Graham Zusi of Sporting Kansas City a couple days ago when he joined us. And it's simply this. A lot of MLS players, I don't think people realize out there, are so open to signing autographs, coming on shows like this, taking pictures, making visits to children's hospitals and visiting people with terminally ill diseases without people knowing, without the media knowing. And I think this is fantastic. I think this is wonderful. And I think people like you and so many on your club and all over MLS do this because they're real. They're not like some of these athletes or celebrities that think they're above and beyond everyone else and the rest of us are below. And I think this is fantastic for MLS. Talk about the unity, the brotherhood that a lot of these MLS players have when it comes to great charity work.
I think it does speak to the quality of a lot of the guys that we have in this league. And, I think with if you look at other really big major sports in the U.S., with NFL, NBA, those guys might go out on the streets and they're recognized and swarmed by paparazzi. And I think, with our league, yes, it is growing, but at the same time, it's going to be rare if you walk out on the streets and you're immediately mobbed by, the media or paparazzi. And so it allows guys to, I think, maintain that reality and maintain that just being genuine. And it's fun. It's fun to watch. It's fun to see what other guys are doing with their charities in the community. Look at Kai Kamara and what he's done. Like you mentioned, Graham Zusi and guys on our team. And so it's fun to see, and it's fun to be a part of a group of guys who are kind of staying in touch with their roots, staying in touch with their beliefs, and kind of living that out in a real way is pretty important and pretty cool.
Walker, good luck in 2016. We really appreciate you making time once again. God bless and continued success off the field as well, my friend.
Thank you very much. God bless.
Class act, Walker Zimmerman of FC Dallas. This is a young player on the rise. This is a guy that's going to open up a lot of eyes come this season in 2016. I'll never forget that look after scoring that PK. It was unbelievable, and it was a class act. He didn't want to throw it into anyone's face. He just walked away, and he gave that look of satisfaction of putting the ball in the back of the net.